You just have a seat there, Russell.
Guy I was speaking with on whatever night that was Russ as well.
Oh, yeah.
And we took every number I had.
Yeah, now they were doing some pretty thorough interviews that night. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I was
All right.
glad to see it.
I'm just going to move your gloves here. That's a little microphone, just to
Okay.
make sure there's nice and clear. As you can see here, everything in this room is videotaped and audio taped.
Check.
You ever been interviewed by the police in a room like this before?
I
Or?
have never been interviewed like this.
Oh, no? Okay.
No.
Let's get this set up here.
I guess the closest interview by NIS for top secret clearance.
Oh, yeah? All right. Well, again, Russell, I appreciate you coming in. An investigation like this, I mean, I'm sure you can appreciate it's been big news, especially down Belleville way. And, you know, obviously our approach to cases like this is that we don't give up on somebody being alive until we get evidence that they're not. So because of that, we're treating Jessica's case as an emergent situation, obviously.
Yeah.
So we're fast forwarding things that we might normally take our time with. And that's why we're here on a Sunday afternoon.
Sure.
So again, I appreciate it.
Okay.
We're going to do a pretty thorough interview today.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because the last thing we want is to be calling people back again and again and again. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a number of things, and I'm going to explain what all those are to you.
Okay.
I'm a big coffee guy. I don't know if you're a coffee guy or
I am
not,
a
but I
coffee
didn't
guy,
want to
actually,
drink in
yeah.
front of you. So
No, I appreciate that.
all right, go ahead.
I could definitely. Are they black?
Yeah, they're just black with sugar.
Definitely. I just started my phone. I probably haven't a little bit.
Started your what, sorry?
Gum. Just
Oh,
first
okay.
piece of gum.
Well, there's napkins there if you want to toss it or whatever.
I appreciate that.
All right, and again, like I said, this interview is going to be very thorough. But again, I have a simple rule when I talk to people. It's I'm sure you're the same way. I treat everybody with respect. I know I ask you to do the same for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by going through what your rights are. Okay? Just like everybody else. Okay. Have you ever been read your rights before?
No.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it on TV a whole bunch of times, but that's usually the American version. So I'll go over with you briefly. Okay. Basically, in Canada, as you know, I'm sure, is we all have our rights guaranteed under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Right.
Okay. Now, Russell, just to avoid any confusion, because people do get confused when they're talked to by the police, is that you're obviously not under arrest here today. Okay.
Yeah.
Anytime you feel you want to leave here, you feel free to do so. The door's not locked. Teresa will walk you down the lobby anytime you want. Okay. If there's anything that comes up in our interview today, Russell, that you feel you want to talk to a lawyer about, you just let me know. Okay.
Sure.
And the reason for that is I want to explain to you exactly what's going on here. Okay. Jessica Lloyd is one of 4 cases that we're currently investigating. Okay.
Right.
And essentially what's happened is over the past about 4 or 5 months,
Yeah.
there have been 4 occurrences that, like I said, that we're looking into. 2 of those occurrences occurred in September of 2009.
Yeah.
And very briefly, they were up in the Tweed area.
Yeah.
They involved somebody entering 2 different women's houses in the evening hours and committing sexual acts.
Yeah.
Okay. In November of 2009, a young lady by the name of Marie-France Como
My people.
was found murdered in her home in Brighton.
Yeah.
And we believe that there was a sexual component to that crime as well.
Okay.
And then most recently we have Jessica Lloyd's disappearance. Okay, so essentially when you're looking at those kind of crimes, we're looking at a number of different potential criminal charges. All right.
Absolutely.
We're looking at issues all the way from the most serious one, which is first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, break and enter with intent to commit sexual assault,
Yeah.
Forcible confinement. Okay, and so what I want to make sure you understand, and this is what we've been doing with everybody we've been talking to, is that clearly when we find out who's responsible for one or all of those crimes, they could be charged with one or all of those offenses. Okay, whether it's you or whether it's anybody else. All right.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's important that we make sure that people understand what they have to do and what they don't have to do when they're talking to us. Okay? So as I said before, any point today you feel the need, you want to speak to a lawyer, you let me know, and we can take you to a room where you can do that in private. Okay?
Okay.
Do you have your own lawyer?
I have a realty lawyer, but
Okay.
no, I don't have a lawyer.
All right. If at any point you want to make that call and you don't know who to call, we have a phone list of lawyers that are available to give you advice free of charge right over the phone.
Okay.
So again, if at any point today you want to take advantage of that, you just let me know.
Sure.
Is there any reason you want to call a lawyer now?
Nope.
Okay. A couple other fairly simple and straightforward things that you probably understand, but again, we go over them to make sure everybody's clear, is that you don't have to speak to me today, okay?
Okay.
And the reason for that is because the law considers me to be what we refer to as a person in authority, okay? Probably similar to what you may be considered to be on the base.
Yeah.
And because of that, I can be compelled to appear before any judge in the country, basically, to account for what takes place here today between you and I, okay? And that's the reason why everything's recorded, because there can't be any more accurate record than that, right? So.
No, understood.
And the other thing I want to make sure you understand is that, you know, you mentioned a second ago about Ms. Como being one of your work associates. So I don't know what's happened since November on the military side of things. But what we want to make people clear on is that if you have been spoken to by any person in authority or any police officer about any of those cases, I don't want what they may have said to you to make you feel influenced or compelled to say anything to me today. Lloyd is one of 4 cases that we're currently investigating. Okay.
Right.
But Williams must know the questions will also touch on other recent crimes around his lakefront cottage on Cozy Cove Lane in Tweed, Ontario. Because he knows what the police don't. That beginning in 2007, when he was at the cottage, usually alone, a multitude of crimes would follow. Dozens of bizarre break-ins, women's lingerie and underwear stolen, almost all in his neighborhood and on his street, including 2 sexual assaults. Now, in his firm but quiet way, Jim Smith is about to make the transition from good cop to bad.
I told you when I came in here that I'm going to treat you with respect, and I've asked you to do the same for me. We talked about the whole idea of how we've approached you here, okay? The trying to be as discreet as possible, okay? But the problem is, Russell, is every time I walk out of this room, there's another issue that comes up, okay? And it's not issues that point away from you, it's issues that point at you, okay? And I want you to see what I mean, all right? This is the footwear impression of the person who approached the rear of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January, okay?
Detective Smith now knows, as the Colonel does too, that the prints belong to boots owned by Russell Williams.
This is a photocopy of the boot that you took off your foot just a little while ago, okay?
They're the boots Williams wore on January 28th, the very same boots he put on to come to Ottawa Police Headquarters today.
These are identical. Okay. Your vehicle drove up the side of Jessica Lloyd's house. Your boots walked to the back of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January. Okay. You want discretion. We need to have some honesty, okay? Because this is getting out of control really fast, Russell. Okay, really, really fast.
I'm shut.
Russell, you know there's only one option. What other option is there?
What's the option?
Well, I don't think you want the cold-blooded psychopath option. I might be wrong. Okay, because don't get me wrong, I've met guys who actually kind of enjoyed the notoriety, got off on it. Got off on having that label. Bernardo being one of them. I don't see that in you. If I saw that in you, I wouldn't be back in here talking to you, quite frankly. maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you got me fooled. I don't know. This is over. And it can have a bad ending. What are we going to do?
Call me Russ, please.
Okay.
The awful reality his victims had known is now sinking in for Russell Williams himself.
Which direction are we heading in here? Russ, maybe this would help. Can you tell me what the issue is you're struggling with?
We've compressed Williams' many pauses, some almost a minute long.
What's the issue you're struggling with?
It's hard to believe this is happening.
Why is that? Why is it hard to believe?
Because it's pretty wide open now, eh?
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Well, do you want to work forwards or backwards?
Doesn't matter.
Why don't we start with Jessica? How does that start for you?
It happened 10 days earlier. Whenever Colonel Williams went from CFB Trenton to his cottage in Tweed, he drove right by the house where Jessica Lloyd lived. He'd recently caught sight of her working out as he passed by.
I saw her in her house on her treadmill. Wednesday night, I guess. Then I noticed she wasn't there Thursday. So I got into the house to look around. Then, and then left. Noticed she'd come home. So I went back in. Through the back patio door while she was sleeping.
Okay.
So I woke her up. Didn't hit her. She only hit her once. Friday night.
While he assaulted Lloyd, his SUV sat in the field next to her house, his biggest mistake. Afterwards, he drove her to his cottage in Tweed to continue the attack.
Well, so I raped her in her house. And then I took her to the car and took her to Tweed. And spent the day in Tweed. And then I hit her as we were walking. She thought we were leaving. Hit her on the back of the head.
William says the flashlight with which he hit her did more damage than he expected.
Well, I was surprised that her skull gave way. She was there and immediately unconscious. And I strangled her.
Why do you think these things happen?
Oh.
Have you spent much time thinking about that?
About why?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know the answers. And I'm pretty sure the answers don't matter.
Well, let me ask you this: did you like or dislike these women?
I didn't know any of them.
That may be as close to truth as we can get, that he had no feelings at all for the women he raped and murdered, even Jessica Lloyd, whom he held captive for the last day of her life.
Can you tell me why you killed her? Right? Do you know why you killed her?
Well, I think I killed her because I knew that her story would be recognized.
Her story would be recognized? How do you mean?
Well, because she knew I was taking pictures.